First, I'm so happy at the announcement Q is making that the marathon is over and now Trump is talking about taking out all the deep state criminals. Exposing all their crimes, arresting them, telling us the truth. I am so happy. I knew it was quiet. Still there is talk about 10 days of darkness, no internet except for emergency broadcasting on your cell phones, while the internet is reset and I'm assuming big businesses turned over to work for us, not against us. So make sure you're stocked up now please. I'll be online trying to get as much info as possible, but folks, I think this is what we've been waiting for. I'm sure the Saint Germaine funds will follow and perhaps Gisara law will be announced within the next couple months. I know Ivo knows about this because he is saying I'm to get on the QFS and get my house next spring. So it all works out. I thought Trump would do this after his re-election, but he still has 3 months if he loses. Perhaps there will be no opposing party, or if there is one that's not crooked. What a luxury. So be happy. Now, on with the message. Becoming more spiritual. So many people believe that becoming spiritual is a process of just ignoring things and blissfully going on in your life. If you can ignore things, if they don't bother you without denying them, that's great, but there are some things that won't be ignored. The thing that won't be ignored is your changing self, and I'll capitalize that. You are becoming your higher self, so you are in a huge process of change. And you are releasing pent-up, stored-up negative emotions. I believe this process of change has to do with what Elizabeth Kubler-Ross defined as the grieving process. And part of that process is anger. Anger is not a place to be stuck in, but it is a transitional emotion that signals that something needs to change. If you're stuck in anger, you need to speak to someone, perhaps a professional, who can help you grieve your losses. I believe that anger is the highest level that a human can experience with a closed heart. The heart needs to be opened and the anger transmuted into higher frequency states. Other modalities for release of anger can also be metaphysical types. I believe Reiki could help as well as any other sort of energy healing. I have used the traditional method of transmuting the shadow, the painful part of the emotional body. Why would living on earth be anything other than a process of grieving loss when you think of who you were before you incarnated here? You have to grieve your losses in order to win your gains. And what you gain back is the person who incarnated here before you were born. Today as I drove around, I realized I have a huge whopping resentment. I realized I'm thinking, I can't believe I let these people tell me what normal is. What triggered that aha moment was when I was listening to Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love. Plant sings, "Gonna give you every inch of my love." Sorry, Robert, but love isn't measured in inches. Frankly, you're pretty stingy if you think so. I can only wonder what my young alien virgin teenage mind was thinking when she heard those lyrics for the first time. I let these people tell me what normal was. I heard all these songs, I listened to people's experiences, I went along with them when they socialized, I worked with them, I exposed myself to the unsavory, delusional process they call living, and I became like them. By 30 years old, I was completely emotionally shut down with a huge ball of pain within me that I was trying to outrun. It caught up to me when I was 40 and went into the 12 steps, and then it was released. My personal nuclear explosion that lasted 5 years in Dark Night of the Soul. What's worse, it wasn't finished. There was more. Because as Ivo said yesterday, I am moving towards the light, moving towards my vegan family whose physicality is of higher frequency. It's like when your ship is sinking, you toss overboard everything that's weighing you down. It's a process of releasing the old frequencies and embracing the higher frequencies. For me, personally, I won't be able to physically see my vegan family on Earth until I'm well entrenched in 5D frequency. More has to be done yet. Becoming spiritual is not a pretty process. It's damned messy. And it can be painful. So, I let these people tell me what life was supposed to be about. What normal was. And you see, they're still asking for their normal to return. It's not going to. What they don't realize is how toxic our normal lifestyles were and that something better is around the corner. Normal for me was being harassed, drinking and debauchery all weekend, loveless sex, working 40 hours a week for a company that's polluting the world, overdoing it, being over-responsible so I could keep ahead of my fear of losing my job. Being so fear-ridden and insecure that the only way to deal with it was to shut down my emotions. That was normal for me until I turned 40. I looked for normal in the lyrics of the songs I listened to. Queen penned the hit, "Somebody to Love," which made me believe that love was like looking for Easter eggs and sometimes you find the treasure, other times you don't. It's hit and miss. Fortunately, they also sung, "Another One Bites the Dust," which would aptly describe my love life. Back in the 70s, Johnny Paycheck produced the hit, "Take This Job and Shove It," which appropriately expressed my sentiments about working. Nazareth sang the hit, "Love Hurts," and that I could also relate to. My normal was being expressed in the lyrics of songs, and I used them to express the emotions I wouldn't allow myself to feel. The volume I listened at also was indicative of the level of anger I was feeling. The louder, the more angry I was. I had to shut myself totally down to achieve the normal that everyone else was living. You may have as well. Along came singers like Paula Abdul, who sang songs like "Straight Up," where she asks the guy, "Am I just in a hit and run?" I should have listened to her more, not the other stuff. I might have related better to the female singers. It might even have helped me to understand that people are deceptive, even in the love arena, which I kid you not, I did not understand till I got taken advantage of so many times. I did not understand this. I had to learn, and for the sake of embodying my higher self on earth, I had to develop the appropriate boundaries. I learned. Fortunately, there were groups like the Birds who sang, "Mr. Spaceman." And eventually, Elizabeth Claros' book about her relationship with a man from Alpha Centauri. Shows like Star Trek came out, and movies like Star Wars, so that gave me something to latch onto in the midst of my insanity. Eric von Däniken was a godsend with his book, which I read when I was 11. I've learned from Ivo, and he will continue to teach me, that normal is anything but what we practice here. Let's define a normal life as being a healthy one where there are no obstacles in your way, no misguided thinking, and no negative emotions produced as a result of enacting this normalcy. He's taught me that love isn't hit and miss. You incarnate together with your twin flame, and early on in life you're introduced by your parents, so that you can grow up together. You don't have to learn to love anyone, it comes naturally. As far as jobs go, it's about being of service to keep the society running, and it's on a volunteer basis. If you're too busy, I guess you don't do service. But you realize that service is key because you're serving God and you're all part of God. So you don't have to shove any job anywhere. You're not made to do anything that doesn't suit you. He's taught me that life is a lot more designed and deliberate than anything we do here. We don't wake up not knowing what will happen that day, we create it. We put the cart before the horse, not after. Life isn't random. There's no such thing as luck or bad luck. It's all a reflection of your mind. I believe my anger right now is directed at those people who are believing the narrative, who are wearing masks and sympathizing with each other, saying, "We're all in this together," to which I reply, "No, you're in this by your own choice." I'm not. I will not comply. And I certainly will not allow these people who I've allowed to mislead me for so long to mislead me again. Now I stand in my own power, with my own ideas of how things have to be, and I don't follow along behind people who hide their victim mentality behind a screen, or should I say a mask, and a false sense of goodness. We create our own lives. If you're going to tattoo your forehead, stick that on it. I find the people who are most apt to stand behind the mask-wearing mentality are ones whose lives are working for them. That's been my experience, maybe yours is different. Take what you like and leave the rest. Take my niece for example. She's a young urban professional who has all the money she needs. She travels to exotic locations and lives in a condo with her mate. She has everything going for her. That's the type of person I keep seeing promoting the wearing of masks. I'm sure there are others and they do it with their own justification. People like my niece would never think they're being controlled because they have adjusted to the system and it works for them. That's why they don't think they're controlled. If you ask them, did you actually choose to start working and earning money, or were there other options open to you when you joined the workforce? No. Only one choice? Sounds like control to me. I've typically found these people to be very boring. I find when speaking to them, I can anticipate their answers before they speak them. That's not telepathy either, it's because they're speaking matrix. My first experience of working was having to look for a full-time job after having summer jobs. When I complained to my parents, my father told me that that's the way it is. You have to earn a living. So get at it. Shut down again. What if we didn't want to earn a living? Have we ever had that choice? No. It should be a choice. Don't you think so? I do. And I will do my utmost to create that reality for as many people as I can before I leave this planet. I think food should be free. Why should we have to pay for it when we can grow it? Oh yes, because we're working and we can't grow our own food? Of course we can. We don't have to watch plants get bigger and bear fruit. They can do that on their own. Oh yes, we have to pay taxes. We have some expenses that are purely monetary with no other way to pay for them but with cash. That is why you have to work for a living, to pay the real bosses. Why do we go to authorities every time we have to understand something? We have to find out what the common belief system is, and then we will probably say, oh yes, that's right, and then tell others that this is the truth. No, that's what they believe the truth is. Why do they describe so many new modalities as alternative? What are they alternatives to? The accepted narrative. The accepted narrative is taught in school. I've always wondered why they teach Darwinism in school when it's still called a theory. If it's a theory, why is it being taught as if it's the truth? Ever question that? We are renegades, folks. We're dangerous to the establishment. We don't carry the narrative and we are beginning not to live by it. We are beginning to live an alternative, and I'll put that in quotes, type of life. We are beginning to embrace different means of living and supporting ourselves, and over and above that, we are beginning to believe that life is not just about supporting yourself, that there is far more to it than we've ever thought. When we can physically group together, we will establish cities based on our own values. I hear now there are light communities going up in Africa as well. Me, Ivo, I've gone on for 3 pages already. Sorry my love, but do you have any comments? Ivo, LOL, you had to get this off your chest. It was a piece of your puzzle you had to put in place. Why you are so angry at maskers and the visible evidence you keep seeing that society is on the wrong track. You cannot ignore it anymore. You have gone through stages in your lifetime, learning, then confusion, then expulsion of these ideas. Now you are beginning to construct the world that you believe needs to be created. One of values identified by the extraterrestrial species as being the most beneficial and the most loving towards all life. This is what you bring to Earth. Me, not just anger? Ivo, anger is a catalyst. When you feel anger, you must sit and wonder what it is trying to tell you. Then get clear on what idea is coming up for you to act upon. The Lyrans and the Vegans went through many eons of learning to change their warlike low-frequency behavior. This is how they ascended. We went through almost exactly the same process you are undergoing now. You are increasing in frequency. We started at a low level, became warlike, killed each other off, and then we stopped. We realized that this was not life we were living. We were creating a living hell. We worked together with councils and committees to change the rules. Yes, we still had physical laws as you do, we changed them as you see them changing now before you, to a more humanitarian system. That is what Gesara is. A more humane system that is all-inclusive. Nobody is shut out, and nobody goes without. I know there is fear of socialism on your planet. But this is humanitarianism. The fear of socialism comes from the idea that there is not enough. You will have less if someone else has more. This is ridiculous because life is abundant. This is something your world has yet to learn. Energy can be changed through the process of alchemy. Our food synthesizers work on this principle. Your food is energy. Energy can be changed to create anything, including a meal of spaghetti and meatballs. How do you think your plant life creates food? Through alchemy. How do you think your bodies create life? Through alchemy. Energy is transmuted to create new life. All life is alchemy, whether it has form or not. Me, thank you Ivo. Ivo, Tianya, you are on the right track. Many minds are being approached now to create such cities of light across your globe. The darkness will end.